Hello everyone. Today we are going to tackle one of the biggest challenges English learners face, understanding fast English. Let me ask you, have you ever found yourself watching a movie or listening to a native speaker and thinking, why does it feel like they're speaking a different language? You know the words, you've studied the grammar, but when they speak, it all feels too fast, too blurry, too overwhelming. Well, I've got some good news for you. You're not alone, and it's not your fault. The way native speakers talk is very different from what's taught in textbooks. But by the end of this video, you'll have all the tools and strategies you need to finally understand fast English, no matter who's speaking or how fast they talk. So, let's jump into it. But stay with me until the end, because each tip builds on the previous one, and I promise you it's going to change the way you listen to English forever. Let's break it down first. What's happening when a native speaker talks fast? 3 key things. 1. They don't pronounce every word clearly. Native speakers are efficient. Instead of saying, "What are you going to do?" they'll say, "What ya gonna to do?" Words get shortened, combined, or even dropped. 2. Their rhythm changes. English isn't just about words. It's about rhythm, stress, and intonation. Some words are emphasized, while others are almost whispered. If you don't understand the rhythm, it can feel like the speaker is skipping words. 3. Cultural context matters. Native speakers often use slang, idioms, or expressions that are unique to their culture. Without knowing these, you might feel lost even if you catch all the words. Now let's learn how to overcome these challenges in a way that's easy, practical, and most importantly fun. Tip 1. Train your ears like an athlete trains their body. Think of your ears as muscles. The more you train them, the better they get at catching fast English. Here's how. Start small. Don't jump straight into movies or podcasts that are super fast. Begin with short clips, maybe a 10-second line from a TV show. Listen to it several times. Example, in the movie Avengers, Tony Stark says, "We have a Hulk." Sounds simple, but listen carefully. Notice how the words flow together. Use repetition. Listen to the same clip repeatedly. The first time, you might only catch 1 or 2 words. By the 5th time, you'll start hearing the full sentence. Practice active listening. Don't just hear English, really listen. Focus on how the words are pronounced, how the tone changes, and where the speaker pauses. Tip 2. Imitation is the key to mastery. One of the fastest ways to improve is to copy native speakers. This technique is called shadowing. How to shadow? Play a sentence. Pause, and repeat it exactly as you hear it. Then match the speed, tone, and rhythm. Example, listen to this. "Hey, what's up?" Notice it's not, "Hey, what is up?" It's shortened and casual. Repeat it exactly as it sounds. By imitating native speakers, you're not just learning words, you're training your brain to think and sound like them. Tip 3. Slow down to speed up. This might sound strange, but to understand fast English, you need to start slow. Use tools like YouTube's playback speed or language learning apps that let you slow down audio. Listen at 50% speed. At first, it'll feel unnatural, but you'll hear every detail, how words connect, where the speaker breathes, which words are emphasized. Gradually increase the speed until you're back to normal pace. Tip 4. Decode common reductions. Native speakers love shortcuts. Let's look at some of the most common reductions you'll hear. Gonna equals going to. Example, I'm gonna go now. Wanna equals want to. Example, do you want to come? Gotta equals got to. Example, I gotta leave. Tip 5. Visualize what you hear. Here's a powerful trick. When listening, try to create a mental image of what's being said. For example, if someone says, I went to the park and had a picnic, imagine a park, the grass, a picnic basket. This visualization helps your brain process the sentence faster. Tip 6. Learn the power of context. Even if you don't catch every word, you can still understand the overall meaning. How? By paying attention to the context. Imagine you hear, so, yesterday, I went to the mall. Even if you missed the mall, you know they're talking about what they did yesterday. Native speakers often skip words, but the context fills the gap. Practice guessing what's missing based on the situation. Tip 7. Surround yourself with English daily. This is the most important tip. If you want to understand fast English, you need to hear it every single day. Watch movies or TV shows without subtitles. Even if you don't understand everything, your brain is learning. Listen to podcasts while doing other things, for example, while cooking or exercising. Let English become part of your daily life. Talk to yourself in English, describe your day, your thoughts, or even your plans out loud in English. Here's a daily routine that will transform your listening skills. 1. Morning. Watch a 5-minute English video. Write down the key phrases you hear. 2. Afternoon. Shadow the same video, copying the speaker's tone and speed. 3. Evening. Watch it again without pausing. By now you'll understand so much more. Fast English isn't your enemy, it's just a new challenge. With these techniques, you'll not only understand native speakers, but also feel confident when speaking. Understanding different accents and dialects. When you're learning to understand fast English, you might have noticed that it's not just about the speed of speech, it's also about how people speak. English is spoken in so many different accents and dialects, depending on where people are from. For example, English in the UK sounds different from English in the US, Australia, or South Africa. But here's the thing. Once you understand the rhythm and flow of English, understanding these different accents becomes much easier. How to get used to different accents? One of the best ways to improve is by exposing yourself to a variety of accents. Listen to podcasts, watch shows, or listen to songs from different countries. For example, if you're used to American English, try watching British dramas or listening to Australian podcasts. Example: the word schedule in American English is pronounced like schedule, while in British English it's more like schedule. Even though these pronunciations are different, your brain will get used to hearing these variations over time. What makes accents tricky? Different accents change the way people pronounce vowels, consonants, and even entire syllables. Some accents might drop syllables entirely, while others might stretch them. For example, in American English, you might hear "I'm going to go get some coffee." In a British accent, you might hear something like "I'm going to get some coffee." The more you listen, the easier it becomes to distinguish the accents and catch every word, even when they're spoken quickly. Let's talk about something very important when listening to fast English connected speech. Native speakers don't speak one word after another like robots. Instead, they connect words together to make speech faster and smoother. What is connected speech? When native speakers talk quickly, they blend sounds together, leaving out certain sounds or even changing how words sound when they're next to each other. For example, "What do you want?" sounds more like "Watcha want." "Did you see that?" becomes "Did ya see that?" The trick is to get used to this connection. The more you listen to native speakers in real life or in media, the more your ear will tune in to these connected sounds. It's like learning to read between the lines. The role of intonation and stress in fast English. Intonation is like the melody of speech. When native speakers talk quickly, they use different rises and falls in their voices to emphasize certain words, show emotions, or indicate what's important in the sentence. Understanding this will make everything you hear so much clearer. Rising and falling intonation. In English, the tone of the speaker's voice can rise and fall depending on the type of sentence. For example, in a question like "Are you coming to the party?" the voice will typically rise at the end, showing it's a yes or no question. In a statement like "I'm going to the store," the voice usually falls at the end. These intonation patterns give meaning to the sentence beyond the words themselves. When a native speaker talks quickly, it's often these patterns that give you clues about what they're saying. When it comes to understanding fast English, listening is not enough. To truly master this skill, you need to practice both listening and speaking together. Let me explain how. Shadowing with speed. As you already know, shadowing is an amazing practice. But to really speed up your understanding, you should shadow at the speed that native speakers talk. You can do this by using the slowdown tool, like on YouTube, to listen and repeat sentences. But here's the catch: don't just repeat the words. Focus on repeating the intonation, the speed, and the rhythm. You don't have to speak perfectly, but try to sound as close to the native speaker as possible. You might be listening to a fast conversation in a TV show where someone says, "I don't know if I can make it to the party tonight." Try to speak this sentence as fast as the speaker while maintaining the correct rhythm. Repeat it 5 times. By the end, you'll feel like you've unlocked the secret to fast speech. Use voice recording apps. Record yourself mimicking native speakers. Listen to your recording afterward and compare it with the original. Did you get the stress and rhythm right? This feedback loop helps you understand the differences between your speech and theirs. Sometimes, when listening to fast English, we get stuck because we don't know certain words or phrases. But there's a trick to getting around this: contextual learning. When native speakers talk quickly, it's impossible to catch every word. But here's the secret: you don't need to. Native speakers will often give you enough context to understand what they're saying. If someone says, "I've got to go pick up the kids, so I'll call you later," even if you don't know pick up, you can guess that they're talking about going somewhere to get the kids. Let's say you hear someone say, "I'm sorry, I totally spaced out." You might not know spaced out yet. But based on the situation, maybe the person is apologizing for not paying attention, you can guess it means they were distracted or didn't focus. How to handle real-life fast English situations: you can't always control what you hear or how fast people talk. So here's a crucial tip: learn how to ask for clarification without feeling awkward. Native speakers are used to non-native speakers asking for clarification. If you don't understand something, it's okay to ask. "Sorry, could you repeat that?" Or "What do you mean by that?" This shows you're interested in the conversation, not that you're struggling. Use phrases like, "Could you say that again, please?" "Sorry, I didn't catch that. What does that word mean?" One of the best ways to improve is by speaking to real people. Use language exchange apps, join English speaking clubs, or talk to friends. In real conversations, you'll learn how to handle fast English naturally. Just like learning to swim, you can't just practice in small doses. You need to dive in completely. Immerse yourself in English content. Spend a few hours each day listening to fast English. Watch movies, listen to podcasts, news channels, or anything that exposes you to a wide range of native speakers. The more exposure you get, the more your brain will adapt. You could listen to a podcast while cooking or doing chores. Start with topics you love, whether it's sports, music, or technology. As you listen, your brain will start making connections between words and their meanings. Over time, you'll notice that fast speech feels more natural. I want you to remember one thing: fast English is a skill, and like any skill, it takes time and consistent practice. You won't wake up one day and magically understand everything. But with each day, each minute of listening and speaking practice, you are building your ability to understand. And that's the most powerful thing I can tell you: the more you immerse yourself, the more natural it will feel. So keep pushing. Keep practicing. Keep listening to native speakers. Eventually, it will all click. And you'll be able to understand fast English like you were born for it. Listening in the real world: the biggest challenge you'll face in learning fast English is listening to it in real-world situations. This is where it gets tricky, because it's not like a classroom or controlled environment. In real life, people speak at full speed, mix in slang, and sometimes even mumble. The secret to listening in the real world: you need to develop the ability to adapt to different environments and situations. For example, Understanding fast English in a casual conversation at a coffee shop is very different from understanding it in a meeting or while watching a fast-paced TV show. The trick is to be mentally prepared for those moments. How to adapt. First, get comfortable with listening to fast speech in multiple situations. You might be surprised how much more you can understand when you prepare yourself. So, don't just practice with one accent or one type of English. Expose yourself to a variety of scenarios, different contexts, people, and environments. If you listen to someone ordering coffee at a cafe, pay attention to how they shorten words. "I'll have a cappuccino to go." It sounds fast because the speaker drops some syllables, but when you get used to these patterns, you'll start picking up on them quickly. Many learners of English get stuck because they don't recognize or understand colloquial expressions, idioms, and slang that are often used by native speakers. Understanding these expressions will make you feel like you're hearing native speakers speaking at your pace. Mastering vocabulary through contextual meaning. You don't need to memorize every word. Instead, focus on the context in which words are used. Words in English often have multiple meanings, and these meanings can change depending on how they're used. The word run could mean literally running, or it could mean manage, as in she runs her own business. Understanding these meanings through context will allow you to decipher fast English with ease. Colloquialisms. Native speakers love to use expressions that are hard to find in textbooks. Phrases like hit the sack, which means to go to sleep. Broke the ice, meaning to start a conversation or relationship, and on the ball, meaning to be alert and quick thinking, are used frequently. How to practice. Keep a journal where you write down idiomatic expressions and how they were used in context. Then, practice using these expressions in your own conversations. The more you use them, the easier it will be to understand when they come up in real life. One of the most powerful tools in understanding fast English is being able to pick up on the speaker's tone, body language, and emotions. People don't just communicate with words, their tone of voice and gestures often carry more meaning than the actual words themselves. In fast conversations, if you don't catch every word, emotional cues can help you understand what the speaker means. Intonation, stress on certain words, and facial expressions all give clues about what's being said. If someone says "I'm fine," but their tone sounds sarcastic or upset, you'll know they're probably not really fine. You can also tell whether someone is excited or annoyed just by listening to how their voice rises or falls. How to practice. Watch TV shows, movies or YouTube videos with no subtitles and try to guess the emotion or intention behind the speaker's words based on their tone and body language. This will improve your ability to understand fast English in any setting. Using technology to boost your listening skills. Technology has come a long way in helping us learn languages faster. There are many tools and resources that can help you understand fast English better. Using these tools strategically will speed up your learning process. Slow down audio. Many podcast apps and YouTube offer the ability to slow down the speed of the audio. While you should try to listen at regular speed, slowing things down will help you pick up on words you may have missed before. Over time, you'll find that you can understand faster speech without needing to slow it down anymore. How to use it: start with a podcast or video and slow it down to 0.75x or 0.5x speed. As you get more comfortable, increase the speed back to normal. This will train your ear to pick up on details. The power of repetition and review. Repetition is key in any language learning process, but especially for mastering fast English. By hearing the same content multiple times, your brain starts recognizing patterns and your ability to process English increases. This is what's called muscle memory for listening. Repetition for comprehension. Listen to the same audio or video several times, but each time focus on something different. On the first pass, focus on understanding the main idea. On the second pass, focus on the details. On the third pass, pay attention to how the words are pronounced and connected. If you're listening to a conversation where someone says, "I went to the store to grab a few things," listen for the connection of sounds. I went to might sound like I went to, or gonna instead of going to. Recognizing these connections is critical in understanding fast English. When fast speech feels overwhelming, one of the best techniques is to break it down into smaller chunks. Native speakers often break down longer sentences into smaller, more digestible parts. By practicing this, you can understand fast speech in pieces. Instead of trying to understand the whole sentence at once, focus on small segments. After listening to a short segment, pause and try to repeat what you heard. Gradually, your brain will process these chunks faster, and you'll be able to understand longer sentences more naturally. How to practice: take a clip of fast speech and listen to it in 510-second intervals. Pause after each section and repeat. When you feel comfortable, try to understand the entire sentence without pausing. This journey takes time, but remember, you're not alone. Stick with me and I promise you'll be able to handle any conversation in fast English. Let me know in the comments how you're planning to practice, and if there are any tips you'd like me to go deeper into. Keep going and let's master this together.